Hey everybody, it's Eric here with Spartan Autoworx. I wanted to make a quick video to cover the new plug-and-play fog light kit we are selling. These kits will fit 99 to 07 classic trucks and 2000 to 2006 SUVs. When you call us, you can let us know what you have. The 99 to 02 trucks are different than that of the 03 up trucks. The plugs for the lights are different. Also, the interior switch is different. So we need to know what you have in order to get you the correct kit. We're selling multiple different ways: a complete kit with fog lights and everything, or just a wiring harness, and switch and relay. However you want to buy it, we'll sell it. So we're just going to go over a couple of quick things here on a truck that we're in the middle of dismantling. This isn't going to be the best overview, but it's going to kind of give you a step-by-step guide how to do it. You're going to need a few tools. You're going to need a 7mm socket, a 10mm socket, and a 13mm socket. Also, you're going to need a pick tool to release the clip from the housing in the fuse block. So with that said, let's get started. Alright, first things first, you're going to take your positive end of the fog light harness kit. This is going to be your pin that's going to the front light harness connector of the fuse block. What I like to do is lift the fuse block. There's a little hole right here. It's got where a couple bundles come through. There's plenty of space to slide that guy right up in there. You will have to kind of guide that wire behind the PCM and get it all situated. Come over to your green connector. Hope you can see that right there. This is the way it sits in the fuse block. Turn it this way. You'll have your green wire on the top right. Then there'll be a space, a purple wire, and this fourth hole right here over is where you're going to put your power in for the fog light kit. So in order to do that, take your pick tool or even a flathead screwdriver work. You're going to need to remove the lock. Pry up on the lock. Pull the lock out. It is keyed. It only fits one way. You're going to take your pin here. It only fits one way as well. There's like a little guard and catch. There's a round top and a square side. So if you match it up, square is going to go on the bottom. The rounded part is going to go to the top, which also I believe has the lock on it. Count over. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a little zip tie here holding these other 4 wires out of the way. Kind of rotate it out of the way. Push this in. It snaps in place. Give it a quick tug. Come back to your lock. You'll see on the side here, the lock only fits one way. If you try to put it in the other way, as I drop it, it won't fit. Get so far and it won't go. So it's only keyed one way. You push it in, side comes all the way through, locks over here, everything's good to go. Come back to your fuse block, push it in your fuse block. Take your 7mm bolt that's in the middle, just crank it down hand tight, not too tight, just enough to seat it. Then pull your fog light harness extra wire out, pull it out, just kind of clear the fuse box there. Slide the front dowels here into the front. Pull this as you're pushing it down, kind of give it a little clearance there in the box. Push it down the back. You'll see right here there's a lock. This locks back down. Come back and hook up your power wires, which is also going to be your 7mm. Power wires back in. Then you can put your top of the fuse block or fuse box cover in it. Now when you do this, the wire here, there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can put it on top, you can come over the bottom, you can bring it down the side. Just gotta be careful. There's a couple little clips on the side. If you don't get it just right, the box may not clip perfectly. And it's not a huge deal, but you know, I'm kind of OCD, so I kind of like it to look right. So you push it down. You got both sides are clipped. This is coming out the top. Then you'll take your power wire and you're going to route it behind the computer to pull it up to the front to where the ground is. And then you can put your top fuse box cover on after we've already went ahead and inserted the relay. But you're going to come right here to the top of the fuse box where we inserted that pin. You're going to need to put in a relay, 8866 small relay. Put it into the fuse block right there. Put your cover back on, put your fender brace back on, and then this will be all you'll need to do for your engine part of the installation. Alright, unfortunately the lighting isn't the best, but behind the front bumper on the driver's side on one of the core support mounts, you're going to find the PCM ground. Now this ground here is very, very important. Anytime somebody calls me and says my truck's doing all kinds of weird stuff, engine related wise, or some other gremlins, the first thing I tell them to do is check this ground. So if you mess with this ground and you start getting some weird stuff, make sure you check this ground and clean this ground off. If you're in here doing this fog light harness kit, I would clean this ground off while you're there. But anyway, you're going to take the other part of the harness, the ground side, and you're going to want to run it through the opening here between the core support or underneath the core support here, from the wire that ran down from the PCM or behind the PCM. You're going to run this over the top of this mount here and underneath the core support, and we're going to take our 10mm bolt, take that out. Now you'll notice the factory one's kind of keyed. It's got a key, the bolt hole, and then it's got like an elbow on it for the key there. You're going to take our new ground for the fog light harness, put it right on top there, go ahead and crank her down, and that's all there is to grounding the unit. Now you're going to run your cables over to the right and to the left. Depending on what kind of truck you have, or what the 03 up 3/4 tons actually have a couple extra clips that I used in our kit. The one we put on our work truck, that was able to do factory, like close to a factory location for an extra, harness that I was routing. You may have to use zip ties. You may get some of the push lock type OEM connectors that you could use and put them in the bottom of the core support. There's multiple ways you could string it from one side to the other, but you'll just have to pull your wire down from the harness over to the front of the bumper here, and you'll have to remount your fog lights or your new fog lights after you cut out the your lower valance or buy a lower valance that's already provisioned for fog lights. We use a Dremel tool to cut one out. I guess if we probably use one of those vibrating tools, it'd probably work just a little bit better, might be a little bit cleaner. But we cut ours out with the Dremel. You will need to use nuts and bolts to go to the provision in the bumper. Every bumper has the provision. They use the little slide clips that go into the bumper. Not really sure the technical name for them, but they actually use like a little, like a panel clip per se, that the screw goes into. You can either use those or just use a nut and bolt to hold your fog light to the bumper. It's pretty straightforward after that. Just running the wire back to the other side. Both sides are going to wire up and bolt in exactly the same for the fog lights. So after you get all that done, we're going to go to the cab and we're going to talk about how you're going to install your new switch. Alright, so there's a couple different kinds of switches as we talked about before. This is a 03 up switch. So you'll take your wiring here from the factory harness. There's no modifications required. You'll plug in the new switch. Make sure you orientate it correctly with the rear cab light on top. You'll push it back into the housing for the lights, and you'll just have to reassemble. Obviously, put your gauge cluster bezel back on. But for the interior modifications to the electrical system, the only thing that's required is you just unplug the old switch, plug in the new switch. You'll see the new one's got the fog light provision, where the old one only has the rear cab light provision. Next, we're going to go and hook the battery up to this truck and demonstrate the new fog light harness. Alright, so you can see we got the front of the truck here all torn apart, so we're not going to be putting fog lights in, obviously. But everything's installed, the new switch is in. Now we're going to go ahead and test it. So you hit the factory switch that's on the inside, and the fog lights come on. That's a complete, pretty close to how the factory did it. Obviously it's not running through the factory wiring harness. But this is about as complete plug and play as you're going to get. There's no drilling in your dash, no adding extra switches, no after tapping into anything else, slicing wires for power. This is completely plug and play, factory ground location, factory power location, factory switch for a fog light kit. And there's many other kits out there that are, have all kinds of other stuff that you got to do, tap in power here. I'm not a big fan of them. This is literally as complete plug and play as you're going to get. So if you guys are interested in buying this from us, we're obviously going to sell it multiple ways that we discussed earlier. Give us a call here at Spartan Autoworx, 636-795-6960.